22 hours GMT in Accra. Good evening and welcome to News at 10 on TV3 and on 3FM 92.7. The news is coming to you live from the News Hub at Adisawe, Kanda. Let's begin with the day's major news highlights. President Akufo-Addo has charged MMDCEs to work with the highest standards of integrity to ensure the relevance of the change Ghanaians voted for. At an orientation for MMDCs in Accra, the president called for maximum cooperation with MPs to promote development. Until the president says government will continue to engage the Electoral Commission to ensure the implementation of the Representation of the People's Amendment Law, ROPAL. At the opening ceremony of the Ghana Diaspora Homecoming Summit in Accra, the president asked Ghanaians living abroad to join hands to build the economy. On TV3, investigations have revealed that some bulk oil distributors and oil marketing companies have complied with a directive from the National Petroleum Authority (NPA) to put on sale the new standard of 50 parts per million ppm from July 1st. However, the NPA's directive gave the BDCs and OMCs a 2-month grace period to clear all higher sulfur content fuel that do not conform to the 50 ppm. And the U.S. Embassy in Ghana says it is working with the Ghana Exim Bank to make available affordable credit to the private sector through the Partnership for Growth program. The U.S. ambassador to Ghana, Robert Jackson, who made this known, said the program also involves efforts to address unreliable and inadequate supply of electricity across the country. And the minority in Parliament is asking government to present to the House the $15 billion agreement with China for approval. Addressing the media, Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu said the deal is an international agreement which must be scrutinized by the legislature. Those are our major news highlights. Let's start now. The Ghana Integrity Initiative says the 8-member committee set up by the Energy Ministry should have been allowed to do its work. The anti-corruption body says the processes resulting in the clearing of the managing director of any wrongdoing have not been transparent.
After combative public discourse between communicators of the ruling NPP and opposition NDC, the Energy Ministry set up an 8-member committee to investigate circumstances resulting in the contamination of 5 million litres of fuel at the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation, BOST. While the public was awaiting the outcome of the report, the Energy Ministry announced that the Bureau of National Investigations has conducted an investigation clearing the MD of BOST of any wrongdoing. The Corporate Affairs Manager of Ghana Integrity Initiative, Michael Bwedi, indicated there has not been transparency on the sale of the contaminated fuel, adding investigation is necessary.
It is not normal for we to constantly have contaminated fuel and then we sell it off, the nation loses. So we haven't, so far we don't know that measures are being taken to stop it.
He added that the 8-member committee set up by the minister should be allowed to finish its work.
Let's not be in a hurry to exonerate somebody, or let's not be in a hurry to ensure that nothing is done. It's important establishing whether there has been a wrongdoing or not, as much as the various process dealing with the procedural defects to forestall the occurrence of these contamination.
And the Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability, ASEPA, says the report by the Bureau of National Investigations and National Security on the controversial sale of contaminated fuel cannot end the matter. The BNI exonerated the managing director of the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company Limited, BOST, Alfred Obingboating, of any wrongdoing in the sale of 5 million litres of contaminated fuel to Movimpina Company Limited. However, ASEPA, in a statement released Wednesday, June 5, said the report is, quote, very unfortunate and diversionary. I have the executive secretary of ASEPA, Thomas Mensa Thompson, joining us in the studio. And also I do have Kamal Dean Abdullahi, who is the Nasara Youth Coordinator. They're all joining us here.
Maybe I have to do a correction.
Yes.
The National Nasara Coordinator.
The National Nasara Coordinator.
Of the New Patriotic Party.
Of the New Patriotic Party, right. So, gentlemen, welcome. Thank you very much for your time. Let me begin with you, Mr. Thompson. You say that the BNI's report is diversionary. I wanted to just quote exactly what you said, but you said it's diversionary. Why is it diversionary?
Exactly.
Diverting from what exactly?
Exactly so, diverting from the real issues that we want to interrogate. I mean, 5 billion liters worth of fuel have been sold to unsuspecting public and to a company that is not registered. There have been several issues, and even being indicated by the preliminary investigations that was done by the NPA, which is the regulator in this respect.
Yes.
And it has all come out, that, Ghanaians want to know the real fact of this issue and why it happened so that, this transaction went the way it went to. And then all of a sudden, the minister comes to tell us he's setting up a committee which is supposed to look into it. The committee itself, which the minister was supposed to put up to investigate issues, was supposed to include the BNI.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden, BNI comes to tell us they independently have gone to investigate the issues, and then they have come out with a report, and it has exonerated the MD, and so all the issues that we've raised should go to bed. I don't think they should. You
don't think it should be so? And your agency, association, civil society group or pressure group, however I want to refer to you, you have stated that irrespective of the work that the BNI has done so far, the whole case needs a further look into. Do you get the impression from the minister's presentation or statement that he does not support a further investigation into this?
I think so. I think so. I mean, if we've asked certain pertinent questions in our statement, we want to know, was the minister aware of this BNI investigation in the first place?
You also raised issues about alleged intimidation and victimization of workers of BOST.
We've received several reports in that regard, but we raised issues. When did this BNI investigation start in the first place? Now, was it after the minister has publicly come out to tell us that?
Well, we wouldn't know. The BNI hasn't said anything.
Yes, but
the BNI is an internal intelligence agency.
But was it after the minister, was the minister aware of this BNI investigation? If he was aware, why did he come out to tell us that he set up a committee? And that committee was supposed to be industry players together with the BNI to investigate the issues. So was he aware of this investigation going up in the first place?
We wouldn't know. I mean, for the benefit of the need to
these
know,
are issues that we really want to interrogate.
I understand that. So let me come to you, Mr. Kamal Dean. You know, there being a lot of issues raised about a cover-up on the part of the BNI to cover for the BOST and all of that. A series of these issues and concerns that have been raised appear to cast a negative shadow on the efforts of the government and the ministry in general to get to the bottom of this. How do you react to these concerns?
I think very, 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 very interesting revelations coming from my brother and his group, which I feel that we indeed, as a people, need to take with little, as it were,
is it to suggest that you do not support that he feels we need a lot of clarity
First of all,
on this?
if you listen,
when, where, how? These are issues that we need to find out.
I have not even made my comment yet. What I'm saying is that we should take it with very little seriousness. Why? The BNI as a body
take it with very little seriousness.
Yes,
That's to reduce the integrity of the group. That's not fair.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I'm speaking to the statement they have issued.
Okay, that's
and
fine.
They are questioning how BNI investigated or got to investigate this matter. Okay? And I'm saying that we should take it with little seriousness. Point is that if the BNI, we all agree that, of course, is part and parcel of the state security agencies that we do have here. We all also agree that counterintelligence, of course, they are given such a remit. We all also agree that the BNI, since its inception in 1996 till date, has never told you or myself or my good brother that we are going to embark on this investigation unless otherwise maybe demanded. Point is that nothing stops the BNI, okay, to, as it were, on themselves or by themselves, get up to say, look, this is a matter that concerns national security. Let's quickly.
You're not addressing the issue of a cover-up.
I am not. I am addressing it.
I mean, you're giving us a lecture on what the BNI should do and not do. I mean, we all know that the BNI operates under Act 526.
What they are saying is that the BNI, to a very large extent, even though they have not explicitly stated that, to a very large extent, the locus of the BNI into this matter is questioned. And that is why I'm saying that they don't have any basis to question the locus of the BNI.
I don't think they question the locus.
They did, to the extent that they even called for a different body. Okay, refer to as IOCO to rather go into the matter instead of the BNI.
But they didn't question the locus of
I am saying that the BNI, trust me, has the capacity, has the authority, has the backing of the law per our arrangement as a state to have gone into this matter.
You don't feel there could be any cover-ups?
Now again, they did mention that customers in this country or unsuspecting customers in this country have had to go buy this contaminated fuel. That, to a very large extent, I mean, is far from being the truth. That is never, and that can never be the truth. We are aware.
Well, I mean, I wish that we could. I wish we could have a read through. You work quite a lot.
I've just gone through
extensively, and so we don't want to say something.
We are aware that Consumer Protection Agency had come out to say that, look, no fears. We are monitoring situations. Nothing like contaminated fuel is on the market. We are also aware that the NPA, a regulatory body, which is to see to some of these, sale of some of these contaminated fuel, came up to say, look, we are on board. We are investigating the matter. We've stopped it. There's nothing going on.
COPEC has said there was no contaminated fuel on the market.
Where did my brother witness the sale of contaminated fuel in the market? Where?
So let's, Mr. Thompson, let me bring you in. I mean, one of the issues you raised, which Kamaldeen mentioned, is your suggestion that IOCO could have done a better job than the BNI. What influences this opinion of your group?
I mean, if you look at the mandate of BNI and national security, we fear that they may be consumed by their mandate, which is to look at matters of national security concerns. I mean, if you're looking at
you don't think fuel contamination is national security?
We think it's national security concerns, but we think that when they are going to look at these issues, they will be consumed by their mandate, which is to look at the aspect of the whole investigations that have national security concerns or national security threats, instead of those that have corruption allegations, malpractices, and conflict of interest, which we have raised.
And you thought IOCO could have a clean sheet. I mean, the mind of IOCO will not be consumed. I'm using your words. Will not be consumed by other diversions or distractions.
Yes, of course. And we are thinking that IOCO, when it comes to administrative crimes, IOCO had the capacity to investigate those issues to the bottom rather than the BNI.
IOCO, there being questions with IOCO's outcomes also, really. So, I mean, if you were to make the choice between IOCO and BNI, for you to say IOCO could do a better job, possibly it's because you feel that BNI's investigations lack the thoroughness that should make Ghanaians trusted. But let me ask you a point of question. You don't think BNI did a good job? Maybe that will put all the matter to
We just have an issue with the whole investigation of BNI.
It wasn't transparent, you said?
We absolutely had no idea BNI was even looking into the issues in the first place.
But you wouldn't know.
Of course, but who did the BNI talk to? We've raised issues about the boss MD himself stepping aside for an investigation to take place. Now, the boss MD was in office. people who are directly linked to these allegations were in the office. You cannot investigate
somebody. So you think
somebody.
he could have influenced the whole
You cannot investigate
outcomes.
somebody when the person is still in
still
charge
in
of
office.
documentary evidence.
Right,
I mean, all the evidence that you're going
your point has been made. Kamaldeen, so the issue Mr. Thompson is raising actually brings to my mind the critics have said that your government campaigned on the strong point of fighting corruption, and it doesn't look like 7 months in office you have shown that you're fighting corruption.
It does look like that, clearly. If the sale of, if you like, what is termed as contaminated fuel just didn't start yesterday. Started when the ex-While government was actually in office as well. Okay, and we had series of companies who were involved in buying this contaminated fuel.
The fact that they did it doesn't mean doing it again.
It's good
right.
I make the point. Let me make the point, then you get where I'm coming from. Now, point is that if this has happened before and has always been happening, and there's a precedent to point to, now we never got a regulatory body like NPA coming out to issue statement that, look, XYZ is happening at, say, Bost, and we think that it is within our right to question the sale of that because it must be sold to the right bodies, being the licensed bodies. Today, in this government, your question is whether or not we are fighting the corruption that we did say that we're going to fight. Yes, indeed.
Let's focus on Bost, for
the chief executive of NPA had cause to issue a statement to say that, look, something is going on. We must have a licensed company buying this. Alerted his minister formed the committee, got into it. So the commitment to fighting corruption and unearthing it is clear. If not, people have been silent for so many years, sold it to unsuspected, to unlicensed companies, and went up. So if you raise the matter, I think
let me ask you my last question.
Very well.
What are your expectations of this whole Bost and sale of contaminated fuel and all of that, on the back of the fact that the BNI had once suggested that the committee set up by the Energy Ministry be dissolved so they don't continue to do the investigations? Should it close the matter?
Well.
Should the BNI report just close the matter? That we should just take it as it.
It raises fundamental questions. Whether or not the BNI has the capacity or the right to go into the matter, whether or not the BNI report is supposed to be taken seriously by the government of the day, whether or not indeed the BNI did actually do a very good job, and if the minister of that particular sector, energy minister, is satisfied that all these questions that I've raised are clearly answered.
Well, I don't doubt the capacity. I don't doubt the capacity of the BNI.
If you don't doubt that, then you go ahead to say that, look, we have a committee nonetheless to go on. In any case, I'm not too sure there's any law, barring the minister from saying that continue with my investigation or don't continue with my investigation. However, the minister would also reserve the right to say that, look, I put in place this committee. I am, of course, dissolving that committee to move on, per the recommendations of the BNI, if we are satisfied with the investigation that they have given or the report that the BNI gave.
Kamaldeen, we're grateful. Now, Mr. Thompson, your final word before we go. You've raised a lot of concerns. I'm sure Kamaldeen's thoughts do not represent that of the government. I must put on record that represents the views of the party.
Absolutely.
So that's different from the government. But considering all he has said, what are your last words?
First of all, I would want to address the issue of precedents that Kamaldeen raised in his in his statement.
We don't have a long time, so
of course,
let me just give you 30 seconds to do that.
We want to use this case particularly as a precedent. You see, in a matter of public accountability systems, you have to set good precedents that obviously become the standard in which in future, when certain instances, certain situations occur, you would have to deal with it. We don't want to come back to next year and we've been confronted with a similar issue, and then Bost will come out and tell us that last year 5 million liters of fuel was sold to an unregistered company, and so it is correct that we do same. And that is why we're saying that this case should be used as a good precedent. We want to bring finality to this case, exactly what we want.
The steps have been taken already.
Today
we are told that license ought to be given to companies like that. We are told that the regulatory body ought to look at it. So your fears have been allayed.
Kamaldeen, thank you very much. Kamaldeen is MPP, National MPP Nasarawa Coordinator, and Mensa Thompson is the Executive Secretary of the Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability, ASEPA. I'm Stephen Enti. This is still News at 10. You can hear me on 3FM 92.7 as well as on your TuneIn app on your mobile phone. We're also streaming live on 3news.com and on Facebook. Please stay. Welcome back. Now, President Akufo-Addo has charged MMDCEs to work with the highest standards of integrity to ensure the relevance of change Ghanaians voted for. At an orientation for MMDCEs in Accra, the President called for maximum cooperation with MPs to promote development.
The 5-day orientation is expected to update and equip MMDCEs on policies and legal frameworks to ensure the effective implementation of the decentralization agenda of government. The Volta Regional Minister Archibald Lecha urged the MMDCEs to exhibit quality, dedication and selfless leadership. The Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Haji Alima Mahama, charged them to work hard to meet targets.
A lot of effort went into your selection, and we are expected to achieve, not only for Minister of Local Government, for all the ministries. The MMDCEs are poised to go ahead and recognize that you have put them there to achieve your agenda.
President Akufo-Addo asked the MMDCEs to adopt good attitudes and work in dignity to transform the local economy.
The best efforts of the President of the Republic and the Ministers of State will be brought to naught if you in this room do not perform creditably. It starts, of course, with the attitude you adopt towards people. People will know there's change when the quality of local schools improve. They will know there's change when there are jobs for young people. And they'll know there's change when officials come to work on time.
He again charged them to have good relations with members of parliament to promote development.
Experience has taught us that a lot of the tension that arises in the districts and frustrates the work of government comes from, at times, fractious relationship between members of parliament and chief executives. Please avoid such conflicts and let the MPs get their share of the common fund timeously. I do not and cannot and nor want to issue any edicts on anybody's political ambitions. It is enough to point out that many of the tensions between chief executives and MPs also start when chief executives want to run for parliament.
The President questioned the relevance of the unit committee system and suggested a realignment.
And the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations has directed its auditors to pursue and collect from those who have misappropriated funds of the ministry. Deputy Sector Minister Bright Kweku Brobe, who gave the directive at a swearing-in of an internal audit committee, said those caught would be prosecuted.
The committee is charged with advising the Sector Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafo-Awuah, on how funds have been used. It's again mandated to supervise every financial transaction of the ministry and to provide appropriate opinions of them. They are also to understand the Public Financial Management Act, which prevents civil servants from engaging in misappropriations. Deputy Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, Bright Kweku Brobe, entreated the committee to be circumspect.
To ensure maximum exercise of prudence in the application of the country's resources and the taxpayers' money, also to ensure accountability.
Acting Director General of Internal Audit Agency, Ransford Ejay, charged members of the committee to be transparent in their dealings.
Annual statement shall be required, and that statement will indicate the remedial action taken or proposed to be taken to avoid or minimize even from the external audit report.
And the minority in Parliament is asking government to present to the House the $15 billion agreement with China for approval. Addressing the media, Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu said the deal is an international agreement which must be scrutinized by the legislature.
The minority urged government to take a cue from the Supreme Court ruling on the 2 Guantanamo Bay detainees and make available the $15 billion agreement it had with China to Parliament.
He probably construed that if it was just a mere economic transaction of joint venture, it will not require parliamentary scrutiny. The people of Ghana would want to know full details and particulars of any memorandum of understanding signed thereof.
On energy, the minority leader said the 15-year bond that government intends to issue was unimaginable.
They are using ESLA, the energy sector levy, as collateral receivables for this 15-year bond. What they hitherto describe as a nuisance tax, and what they promised to the people of Ghana they will abolish upon the assumption of office. So it means that they are coming to extend the tenure of the nuisance. In 2021, the NDC could be forming the next government, and we will review such commitments, because in our view, there was a sunset clause to the energy sector levy, and we did not intend that it should go beyond 5 years.
The group criticized the Bureau of National Investigation for bowing to pressures and acting in a manner that is disrespectful and an affront to the laws of the country in a 5 million litres contaminated fuel sale by BOST.
We are worried and we are concerned as a minority that the Bureau of National Investigation, a respected state intelligence and security agency, should not be reduced this low, and its integrity should not be compromised on the altar of partisan favoritism.
The minority said it expects President Akufo-Addo to give credit to the Mahama-led government when he turns on the valve to commence commercial production of oil off Cape 3 Points on Thursday.
And that's how we wrap up with News at 10. Thanks for staying. I'm Stephen NT. There is more news at 3news.com. And thank you for leaving your dial at 3news.com. There is more news at 3news.com. Good night.